Come down. Ooh, you make my high come down. Always tripping when you come around. Never have to cut you out like right now. You see, I don't have to drive me. You can say that for your mama. Maybe you should smoke some. Me try the marijuana. I was never you good. The vibe was straight. Showed you a couple of things and they feel strange. I treated you right. Everything was a gift from a time to your bag and the color on your lip.
Welcome to the Seahawks Man to Man podcast powered by Blue Wire. Shout out to the new company. My name is Michael Sean Dugar. You guys can follow me on whatever Elon Musk is calling that app these days. My at name has not changed. It's also right under my right under my necklace there. For those of us watching on YouTube, Seahawks Man to Man is the name of the channel. Seahawks Man, the number 2 man. That's the same thing on Instagram, same thing on TikTok. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all the good buttons there. I didn't say my at name, I don't think. At Mike Dugar, Mikedugar. Sorry about that, y'all. It's week 1 for everybody, you know. Anyway, appreciate the love and support. Chris, go ahead, talk to him.
What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Christopher Kidd. You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at CKIDD206, and that's CKid206.
All right. I'm doing the Birdman hand rub as we begin the pod today. I'm very excited. I'm not excited they lost to the Niners, obviously, but I was just telling Chris this before we press record. I love having a game to discuss. You know, it just gives us so much ammo, so many topics. We got a bazillion questions today. We got so many questions between Blue Sky, voicemails, and on X, Twitter, whatever, that we can't get to everybody today. The show will be 4 hours. We love that. We're going to condense it a little bit. So, because a lot of you guys asked a lot of questions that overlapped. For instance, half y'all asked about Reek. So we don't need to read all the Reek questions. We can just, read a couple and get to the Reek segment of the show. That's an example of how we'll condense it. The show will probably be so long, we don't need a regular intro here. So, Chris, let's just kick it off with the voicemails. Let's do it.
All right. Voicemail numero uno.
Hey Chris, this is Torsten from Germany. So my question for the pod would be if you guys are more optimistic about the defense play, besides those 2 Woolen plays, or more pessimistic about the offense, especially the passing offense. Also, if there was something you guys were surprised by that you would not have seen coming after the offseason, the preseason. Yeah, thanks.
Woo, from Germany. What up? I forgot how to say hello. I learned it when I was over there. Whatever. Anyway, what up? Appreciate the question. Yeah, man. Let's see what I would say. Let's see where you fall in this, Chris. I was already pessimistic about the offense, the passing offense in particular, as the question focuses on, for the reasons that we saw today. I think today was a good. Because for those of you guys who couldn't come to practice, obviously you guys were in that joint practice. This is what the offense kind of looked like. It was like, okay, they'll run the ball a little bit. When it's time to throw, who's getting the pill? And is it anyone other than number 11? So today kind of bear that out. You've seen it in the numbers. You've seen it in just the feel of the game. Chris joked before we recorded like he was going to send me a screenshot of the target breakdown. I didn't even know the numbers until I got to the post-game interviews when Mike McDonald was like, yeah, we need to see who else steps up. So it's not the Jacks show out there. I was like, damn, how many yards did everybody have? You know what, Chris, this seems like a good time to read it. Shall we? Let's see here. So Jackson had 13 targets, 9 catches, 124 yards. Great day, Jax. Great day. All right. Cooper Kupp had 3 targets, 2 catches, 15 yards. Elijah Arroyo, 1 target for a catch, 7 yards. Ken had 3 catches on 3 targets for 4 yards. AJ Barner had 2 targets and 1 catch. Somehow got no yards on any of those. So not good. And I was skeptical about that coming in. Also skeptical because they downgraded at quarterback. I'm on the record with that. They downgraded at quarterback. Downgraded the talent in the receiver room. I'm not going to be optimistic about that, right? So I don't know if I'm more pessimistic about that side per se, but when I was walking down to the press conference, I was just like, I think I even sent a message to my editor. I was like, "This is what joint practice looked like." It looked like that. It looked like a good defense, a scrappy defense, which they were legitimately fighting in Green Bay, and an offense that I have concerns about. I had different concerns after the Green Bay joint practice than I had against after the Titans joint practice, which it was like, oh, they can't block. This time it was more like, how are they going to throw the ball? And what do you know? Had some of those same issues today. So I would say if I had to pick one, I'd probably say my pessimism was kind of confirmed, and it's probably only gonna get more pessimistic, I should say, because just like in Green Bay, and after today, I come away with it saying, "Damn!" And the other team's DBs weren't even like that for real. Like if they were going up against a really good secondary, I'd be like, okay, well, that happens. The other team gets paid too. Today, I'm like, if I'm reading the names of the guys that were able to shut down the Seahawks passing the offense today, it's like that's not encouraging. Renardo Green, who gave up the long ball. What was some other these guys? I had to look up a lot of these guys. Upton Stout. Like it wasn't Marquise Siegel. These are not. I'm not expecting these dudes to be locking stuff down. Like Fred Warner, yeah. Lenore, yeah. That's it. So yeah, I'm only probably more pessimistic about that side of the ball and that specific facet of the game after today.
And I think we can agree on that, as you would agree that you're more optimistic on the defense, not comparing the two. But if I know you picked one, but if you were to flip sides, you would say, oh, I'm more optimistic about the defense because the defense played pretty darn good on Sunday. They gave up 17 points, a phantom touchdown that 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, Rick Woolen bats it down or has the interception himself. He got beat on a double move. He didn't keep running. We're talking about plays that he normally makes. I'm sure when he knocked the pass away from Ricky Pearsall on that huge, I think it was second down, they're throwing a corner route to him. He gets open. Reek doesn't give up. He's able to swat the pass away. I'm sure fans are tweeting, that's why we love Reek. And yeah, unfortunately, a few plays later, it didn't go his way. But my point is the defense played lights out. Obviously, the Niners have an elite guy in CMC who had like a million touches on Sunday, and they were just going to give him the ball. But the Niners also didn't have George Kittle. And yeah, they moved the ball, but how many points did they score? The Seahawks lost 17-13. This wasn't a 28-13. Damn, the Niners just did whatever they want, albeit the Niners' first drive was they made it look pretty simple. I know it was third and long. Yeah. I know it was a lot of third and longs. Someone tweeted me and said, I don't know if it was as easy as they made it look, but they had a bunch of long third downs. And you know what? That person that hit me up is probably right, because as the season progresses, they're only going to get better and better in communication and their coverages and all those things that they might have missed in this week 1 matchup. So I expect it to get better, but they definitely improved throughout the game. I will say that. It's just CMC is one of them dudes, and they still have a really good offensive coordinator and head coach in Kyle Shanahan that was drawing stuff up. Thank goodness Ryan Moody cannot kick a field goal to save his life or an extra point. He was struggling out there. So the Seahawks definitely had some things go their way, but the Seahawks defense did exactly what you would want them to do. It was a scrappy game. They just needed their offense to make a few more plays. Hell, how many turns did the Seahawks get, Mike, on defense? 2 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Jobe. And who had the second interception? I'm drawing a blank.
Ernest had a great interception. It's like a footnote now, but that was like just an unreal play. That was a great play.
So you get 2 turnovers. You only give up 17 points. There's a lot more optimism within that defense because I think their pressure rate I thought was solid. They didn't get, I think they had 1 sack, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
So
Julian Love.
On the blitz, that's correct. So there's going to be some, can they get there with 4 guys? Will they send more pressure? I think as the season goes on, they'll get better and better, but they need the offense to elevate. So I am definitely more on the optimistic side of the defense, just locking things down and getting to a point where, yeah, it's third and long for you, buddy. Good luck. We got guys that are locked down corners on the outside. Our safeties know what they're doing, and we're going to get after you with pressures, disguising things, and we're going to make it very challenging for other teams to score. That's how I look at it. So we shall see. Mike, are you ready for voicemail numero dos?
I am. Yep. Let's do it.
All right. Voicemail number 2.
Hey, what's up, Mike and Chris? Thanks for taking my call. This is Jimmy in Seattle. I just wanted to ask, is it time to permanently bench Reek and start Josh Jobe? Because Tariq is absolutely a liability in coverage. He has no depth perception. He can't make reads on the ball. I don't know if they're going to move him to safety, special teams, but it's time for the Tariq Woolen starting experiment to end. What do you guys think? Thanks a lot.
I appreciate the how do I want to describe this? That is the extreme of the Reek takes right there. That's the hottest of the hot. Move him to safety. Safeties need depth perception too. But I get the sentiment. You're just like anything but playing him at corner. I understand the frustration. Obviously, Reek had. I think I have to go back through my charting, but I think Reek only gave up 3 catches. Problem is they were like 3 big catches. It was like a 24-yarder to Pearsall, like a 45-yarder to Pearsall, and then the game-winning score to a tight end I had never heard of. Jake, is his name on the pronunciation guide? Nope. Tanges. Yeah,
Tonjes,
Tanges,
one
number
of the
80.
2.
Tanges. I think that's Tanges. I think that's what it is. That's not good. That's bad. And I understand that. I understand the frustration because I think we talked about is maybe last year with like Reek's Reek's best performances, like his best stuff, is up there with some of the best stuff you see from other corners, like technique, ball skills, going one on one with the other team's best players. Like if I was his agent going into contract negotiations, I would have a folder ready of Reek's numbers against the best. Like maybe not CD because I think that 2023 game was a little rough, but like Jamar, Justin, Mike Evans, T. Higgins, like all the guys he's had to go, Marvin Harrison, whoever, D Hop, like he's got a really good like run of being solid. And this is throughout the course of a game too. I think of the go ball he had against he had a go ball interception against Puka last year in the game that they ended up losing in Seattle. In that same game, though, he gives up 2 touchdowns to DeMarcus Robinson, including the game winner. Like that's probably the best encapsulation of the experience. And that can be a very frustrating one because of the sequencing, right? If you were to give up that DeMarcus Robinson touchdown earlier in the game, or either one of them, both of them, right? I'm going back to week like 9 here, but stay with me. But then you end the game with the interception on a go ball to Puka. You'd be like, oh, he did great, right? He ended the game. Right? The sequencing is important there. And I understand all the frustration on that. I think we've also talked about on this show, one of the things that you don't want to desire from your corners or any of your defenders or any of your players, to be honest, is focus. Like I think that's probably the focus and toughness. Which one would you say is more, like I shouldn't need this from you, Chris? Which one would you say is more important? To not like, you know what I'm saying? Like which one do you like absolutely like I should never have to ask this of you to be focused or
Focus.
tough?
Yeah. I need you to be always locked in. Toughness, that can come and go. I get it. But if you're not locked in, anything can go wrong. For real.
Yeah.
You could,
No, you're right.
hey,
You're
man,
right.
we're blitzing here. You're not locked in. You doing something else. What are you doing? You're supposed to be doing this because we're blitzing. You're not locked in. Physically, oh, you didn't want taco do right there? Your shoulder hurts? All right, man. I understand. But, oh, you make up for it with a great PBU because you're locked in. You can get away with stuff like that. Deion Sanders was never the toughest guy on the field. But you know what? He had this. He had instincts. He knew what he needed to do defensively. He might not tackle you, but he's definitely going to get a PBU or interception, or you're not going to throw his way.
Yeah, I think I think I would lean for different reasoning, but yeah, I think I'd probably lean towards the focus because it really shows up in crunch time. And I think I used the Rams game as an example last year. I think now I'm really talking myself through it. The Vikings game last year is also a good example. Reek played really well. Reek got benched to start that game. They gave up a touchdown on the opening drive because he wasn't on the field the opening drive. He plays really well on Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson throughout that game, and then gives up the touchdown to end the game against the Vikings to Justin Jefferson. It looks like Julian takes a really bad angle. Upon reviewing the film, it looks like they changed the call. Either Reek doesn't hear it or doesn't like recognize it enough. Either way, he should have just followed Justin. So I get all that. And that is, to answer the first part of the question, no, I don't think this is the time to bench Reek. I do think that his larger body of work warrants leaving him out there. But it is concerning, I should say, that the lack of like crunch time focus is still not there where you want to be, especially since he knows that. Like I talked to Reek earlier this year, in training camp. He knows like I just need to be locked in mentally. Mike McDonald's like, yeah, I just need him locked in, snap to snap, consistency, locked in, consistency. It's like if there was like a slip up maybe in week 5, I'm like, well, we're all human. The first game of the year, that's not where you want to see that. That is concerning, and I'm not really sure. It's a weird conundrum there because you would be if you remove him from the situation, you're putting someone out there who is actively not as good. Job's not as good. I say that with ultimate confidence. And so, yeah, he may be more locked in. I get beat too. There's no guarantee there. But also on the flip side of that, if you're Mike McDonald and you're looking at the whole picture, Rika's had clutch moments as well. It was him guarding. I think it was Garrett Wilson on the final play of the Jets game last year. Rikas who picked off Caleb Williams to end the Bears game last year. So while there are these instances of not being locked in, there are instances of being locked in. It's legitimately a conundrum, and I don't really have a good answer for what to do, because the difference in talent, I think, is so significant. Like even on the long ball to Ricky, Rick's right there. He's right there. He just completely just stopped running. And I couldn't understand it. I'm sure when he watches film, he'll be like, why did I stop running? It's really one of those unfathomable things. And then if you're a coach, you're just like, can I trust Rick to just keep running next time? Maybe. Right? Because it's so simple. It's so simple. You don't need him to be faster or stronger or more athletic the next time. Literally just keep running and it'd be fine. The jump ball touchdown, that's tricky because he's momentum carrying him backwards. Other guy attacks the ball. That's tough. But the other part, Chris, we got asked in the previous question, was there anything that are we more optimistic about the defense or anything surprises? And I think that one of the questions coming into this game on defense, or the whole season, not just this game, like you said, can they rush with 4? Because their edge rushers are like good but not elite. Like you said, they had 1 sack today. No sacks from D-Law. No sacks from D-Hall. No sacks from Boye. They're supposed to be getting there off the edge. Like that's supposed to be the unit. Nothing from them. They had some good rushes, so they answered that question. And then is Reek going to be locked in? Because when he's not, we see what happens. And for both of those things, those boxes to still be left unchecked, if I was gonna sprinkle some pessimism on that optimism we just gave the defense, that would be the root of it. It's like these were not unpredictable things here, is I guess the gist of what I'm saying. But I do think, to kind of close this out, I do think that Reek has earned some benefit of the doubt to give it I don't know how many more games, but at least till next week, at least through the first few weeks. I don't think he's been that bad for you guys. All right, if they win this game, that PBU he had on the goal line, that dog, did they show a slow-mo of that on the TV?
They did.
So you guys could see how close, if Reek doesn't have, let's say Reek's arms are 33 inches. If he has 32 and a half inch arms, that's a touchdown.
I got you, Mike. If it's Josh Jobe, it's a touchdown.
Correct. If it's Spoon, it's a touchdown. Not even to pick on Josh. If it's Spoon, it's a touchdown. That.
Anybody but
Reek.
Reek.
That's how close that was. Yeah. They needed all of that. Let me see how Reek's arm length. Reek's arms are 33 and 5/8. That's long arms. So let's say if he had 33-inch arms, that's a touchdown. That's crazy. So but that was a good play. It wasn't a lucky play. So I guess we should emphasize that too. The guy who can make that play and some of the other good coverage snaps he had in this game, man, it's a real conundrum. I would love to have a beer with Mike McDonald and have him just really tell me the truth, because we'll ask him about it tomorrow He'll get asked about it on the radio, but he won't get a real for real because that's a tough one. You got a guy who's so good, and he'll have how many plays did the Niners run today, Chris? Let's see. They ran 72 offensive plays. Reek was nails on like 69 of them. That's it. And then you got like 3 where it's not. Man, that's very tough. It's very tough. He's like the can I give you a basketball analogy before we go to the next question? You may like this.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like football Anthony Edwards. I don't know. You're a big NBA guy. I don't know if you know this guy Anthony Edwards ain't never made a game winner like his career. He's like 0 of like 20 or something like that for the Timberwolves. Like he just and there's every time he misses one, there's this guy on Twitter who just adds to his reel of Anthony missing. It's like, yeah, he's a great player. And then like when it's time for when the money's on the line, he misses a step back every time. Step back 3 every time. It's like, what are you gonna do? Not have Anthony Edwards shoot? Because then you're like having Jaden McDaniels try to run ISO or whatever, Julius Randle. It's a very similar thing. The person who asked this question is like, let's put in Josh Jobs. Like, I've seen his tape too, But really, finally, like I said, to close this out, it wouldn't surprise me if Mike McDonald, like, if you get something similar happening next week, has a little bit less patience. Like week 1, you don't want to overreact. That's dangerous. That's not how good coaches operate. But you do got to win games. And ultimately, you are just basically if you're a corner or a DB, you are just as good as your last coverage snap. Ultimately, and those last few were not great. And if those are start being the difference between when you're losing and when you're winning, yeah, people, coaches are going to start making some tough decisions.
Hey guys, my name is Seth, calling in from Richmond, Virginia. But actually today I'm in Seattle. I went to first game at Lumen Field. It was a great time. It kind of seemed like from the stands we were putting D Hall and DeMarcus Lawrence, our linebackers, in wide 9-point things the entire time, even though it felt like they were running the ball as much as they wanted. Just wondering if you could shed some light on that scheme and how we were playing. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Appreciate it. From Richmond. Is that our first Virginia?
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
Yeah, we're all over the place. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. I'd have to really watch the film to give it. We'll be shorter on this one, but I did want to get the question in there. This is not really a wide 9 team. You will see the edge guys like really play on the edge, like bumping out a little bit. But the issues they had today, I wouldn't attribute to that. Again, I have to watch the film to like be really sure. But they do tend to have like if the Niners are going to be heavy, you will see like D Hall or Boye or whoever line up on the outside shoulders of the tight ends on each side of the line of scrimmage. That's like pretty normal, but not like true wide 9. 3-point stance, hand in the dirt type of situation. Again, I have to go back and really look, but I don't think their defensive issues were tied to that. I just think that they honestly, this is probably a good time to read this stat, Chris, that I looked up. So in terms of the run defense today, like I thought it was like really solid. Christian McCaffrey had 69 yards on 22 carries. That's 3.1 a pop. Brian Robinson Jr. had 33 yards on 9 carries. That's 3.7 a pop. So that's just not really, they're not doing much, right? They ran it good enough, but not like wasn't anything that blew them out of the water, right? So also, if I remember this right, I put this in my story. The Seahawks had 6 tackles for loss. They had 3 run stops, which is a tackle for exactly 0 yards. And on top of that, they had 5 more run stops where the ball carrier got exactly 1 yard. So think about that. That's at least 14 or 15 plays of the, let's see, 22 plus 9, what's that, 31? So about half the time the Niners ran the ball, they either got 1 yard, no yards, or lost yards. That's incredible stuff. That's incredible. They were outstanding, I thought, doing job number 1 of the game plan, which is stop the run. Like when you say stop the run, it's not like, okay, we got to like hold them to 0 yards on 20 carries. That's just not realistic. A day like today is realistic. They were physical, point of attack. Like I don't think like scheme wise, I thought they were really solid. I do, like before me and Chris recorded just now, we were watching like the end of that Sunday night game. Like That's an example of like a team did not stop the run and they need to go back to the drawing board. I think Derrick Henry had like a buck 40, right? And I'm sure that their number one thing, the
66.
Bill, he did. Oh my God. And you know what the Bills' number one thing they were probably saying when they came into the game was, we gotta stop the run. We gotta stop Derrick Henry, right? They failed. The Seahawks did not fail. So no, I have to go back and really look at the scheme part of it. But I thought how they were playing it was really fine today, even after losing Nicky Emmanwori.
Go to the
My name's
next one here.
Chandler. I live in Fresno, California. I have a quick question because I think today the biggest concerning pieces that I saw today was that we just gave every team in the league film on that JSN is the only person they need to worry about covering. What deal are you cooking up today that gets us a second wide receiver? Because Cooper Kupp looks extremely washed up and there's no one else behind him. I love you guys. Have a great day. Go Hawks.
Appreciate the question. It's from Fresno, right? Yeah. Okay. Love it, man. Thank you. Appreciate the question. Yeah, no, it's a good point. I have news for you guys. No one in the NFL needed film to verify that JSN's the only one that could get open. They could all see it. I watched Kupp's film after they signed Kupp. Actually, before they signed Kupp, I watched him, actually. And you know what I saw? I saw a guy who's really good at about 3 routes. Like, them 3? Like, I'll give you an example. Today, he had like a little, what might have been a choice route. It was like 3rd and medium, stacked formation. I think the defender was playing with like outside leverage, so Kupp breaks it in. He stumbles a little bit. Darnold hits him in the hands, drops the ball. Kupp did a great job getting open. He was schemed open, I would say, based on the alignment, down and distance, the defender leverage. It was perfect play call, perfect decision. If that was a choice route, meaning he would have an option, I'm not sure. But if it was, he made the right choice, gets open, drops the ball. That's how you know it's bad, because that's like one of the few routes you're like, okay, he can still do that. But the fact that I bring up the film watching, I have access to that film. You know who has access to that film as well? The Niners. You know who also has access to that film? The Steelers. Who they played in week 3?
Cardinals.
It's Cardinals or the Saints. It's one of them two.
Oh, my bad. It's the Saints. Then they play Thursday night. My bad.
You know what? Don't matter. Both teams got access to that same film. People can see this stuff, and that is why the Seahawks are not considered contenders by a lot of people outside Seattle. They're just like, oh, this is a decent team. They got JSN and some guys. That's kind of how they are largely described outside of Seattle. They got Jackson. People believe he's on the rise. Young dude, had like 1,100 yards last year, Pro Bowl. Great. And they're like, okay, but who else? Right? That's generally the thought outside of the building. Today did nothing to silence any critics. Nothing. It really didn't. It didn't. They didn't need film. They thought that going in. The Niners, I'm sure, thought that going in. And it's true coming out. And I'll tell you guys, man, I don't want to put too much emphasis on joint practice, but the reason I'm starting to like them, because they are freaking revealing. Like, after watching the Titans, I was like, yo, these guys can't block. What happened? Couldn't block. I hit my editor after Green Bay practice. I said, hey, man, 11's the only guy in my notes that caught a ball. It's like it wasn't looking good. And today looked exactly like that. Today is exactly how joint practice looked out there. Like, it was not good at all. And I think that's going to be a concern. I don't know who they can go trade for. I'd have to really scan the league. But who did we say last show? What, make a call for Jacoby Myers or something?
You brought up Jacoby Myers. I said Calvin Ridley. But
what did he do today?
Oh, he dropped some passes today. Don't look at Titans Twitter. It was not
bad.
a good day.
It's bad over there.
Man. Cam Ward, they were saying, man, who can we get in the first round next year in the draft? That's how bad it was, Mike. They already gave up on the season. They were saying, who are we throwing to? Man, it wasn't good for them. So, to your point, we probably have to do some deep diving, and maybe for an episode, give a little bonus on top of our standout plays. We might dive into that trade options if this continues. Yeah. But as Mike said, he's seen some stuff. He's been around the block. This going to a joint practice and realizing, damn, number 11, that's it, huh? Yeah, and the Packers ain't got nobody out there. For all they know, it's Mike and Chris out there playing DB.
Yeah, man, that's the thing too. It's like y'all wasn't getting busy on Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine or whatever my man. Sorry, not to I should know his name, but you guys get the point though, you know. And I'm saying this without watching the Packers game today. Maybe they were lights out against the Lions. I just saw the final score, so maybe I'm just underestimating Keyshawn Nixon and Valentine. But yeah, I was concerned about that. Today's game and how it played out is why I was watching receiver film of college prospects. I was like, hey, they should draft Matthew Golden. You know, that's what I was. I was on that bandwagon. What did Golden do today? Only had 2 for 16. But like, yeah, I'm not optimistic about that. And I do think it's going to get a lot worse. I do think that Kubiak, if he is as smart as I think he is, he will adjust and find some ways to scheme up more stuff for his guys. But also, I think this is why Sean McVay was comfortable moving on from Cooper Cup, because he's like, I'm tired of having to scheme up stuff. And he just get open sometimes, like on more than just a handful of joints. Because the few routes that Cup's still elite at, he's really elite at. Like that, he understands leverage and spacing like really well. Even the out route where he probably should have stayed in bounds to try to go get the first, but that ended up leading to the 4th and 1 where they kicked the field goal. You see the leverage, see the spacing, boom, smooth cut, hands catch. Like he's not washed, but there are limitations. That's why he was available, you know. So I think it could be a long year in that regard, because as much as you want to be a run first team, run, we're gonna use the run to set up the pass. Like, okay, at the end of the day, you do it's 3rd and whatever, go get open. Like that's life in the NFL, right? You can't just run wide zone from under center on 3rd and 8, right? You get fired. So yeah, I had concerns about that coming in, box unchecked coming out, and it's a shame too, because like there are other teams with better secondaries than what the Niners have. So Kubiak and those guys got to get back to the drawing board. And it's not just to pick on Cup, to be clear. You know, that Barner got to do his thing. You know, Torrey Horton, you know, everybody got to do a little bit better. But it's hard, man. Like, there's a reason why teams are willing to pay their number 2 receiver $28 million. Think about that for a second. There's a reason that the Eagles are like, we got to pay Devontae and AJ. The Dolphins are like, we got to pay Waddle and Tyreek. The Bucks are like, we got to pay Godwin and Evans. Who else? Give me some more. Who else is paying multiple guys? The Bengals.
Well,
They say we got to
they're
pay
paying.
Chase and Jamal, like and Higgins. Like, yeah, not to say every team needs to do that, but that's why you can do it and be justified, because you need multiple dudes out there. It can't really just be this dude and one other guy, or no other guys.
What's good? It's Corey, Arrow C on Blue Sky. So, what's up with abandoning the run so early? What's up with all shotgun, no under center? What's going on, man? Looks like Grubb's still calling the plays. Much love from Seattle. Peace.
Thank you for the question, Chris. You think Grubb watched the game today?
Ooh, I would say he did.
What's he doing? Is he the Bama OC?
He's back at Alabama OC. Ooh, good luck to them boys. But anywho, yeah, I think he probably got a glimpse. It's Sunday.
He's over there laughing. He's over there laughing with his family,
especially after a couple plays they ran. He said, "Huh, that looked familiar."
Yeah, he's probably. What did Mike say when he fired him? We weren't aligned or whatever. That was the line.
Yeah,
like, oh, it's like you and Clint are real aligned over there, huh, buddy? 13 points, huh? Okay. I'm sure. I don't know if Grubb's that petty, but I would be if I got fired. So, yeah, for what it's worth, I looked it up on. Actually, I still have it here on this tab. On early downs today, that's 1st and 2nd down. They were dead even 50% under center and shotgun. Like, the offense has shotgun. Like, they want to be able to get the other runs out of the shotgun. So just get used to that. It's not strictly under center. I don't think they abandoned the run. I just think it wasn't working. You know, let's see. We got the run numbers here. We do. This sucks. Oh my God, this is bad stuff. So Zach had 12 for 47, and then the 1-yard touchdown run.
And you remember he had. Oh,
yeah.
Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, as Chris reminded me, because I couldn't get a good look of it to start the 3rd quarter. I was getting popcorn. Sorry. But I think like on the first play of the 3rd quarter, Zach, what I thought was a catch, went behind the line of scrimmage, so that's charted as a run. So Zach actually, and I think that went for 7 yards. So you talk about true carries, you're looking at 11 carries for 40 yards. and Ken had, or no, sorry. Yeah, and Ken had 10 carries for 20 yards. Is that right?
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, so that's awful, right? So it's just like Chad Morton used to tell me, their old running backs coach, all the time. He'd be like, it's on us to make Shane Waldron call more runs. So that means if it's 1st and 10, we got to get more than a yard. Because like we can't reasonably expect the OC to call another run on 2nd and 9, no matter if you are committed to the run or not. Same thing now. If you lose yards, Chris, you calling a run on 2nd and 12?
No, I got to
No.
pass.
Yeah, like, or probably run a screen, which would be dumb, you know?
Jesus,
Like,
that was
yeah.
awful.
Hey guys,
Ugh.
everyone listen, I'm gonna say
Sorry.
this. I'm gonna lean into the microphone here. I got no text from Chris during the game about them screens today, boy. I was looking at my phone every time. Nothing. Nothing. No alerts. I checked. I was like, is this thing on? And tapping my phone. Not a
Uh,
peep today.
I
What was up
appreciate
with
you
that?
for not. I appreciate you for not texting me because I was about to block you. I ain't talking to you about this today. This is embarrassing. These fools done ran. First of all, on the screen to Ken, my boy, you gotta wait. You gotta let it develop. My boy was so excited, he just ran out there by himself, and there was nobody
no,
there.
no blockers.
And I'm just like, gee, you can't do that, bro. You gotta let it develop. You gotta make the defense think you're gonna not run a screen, and then you surprise him. He runs out there immediately. Linebacker's like, oh, cool. No, it didn't work. And then they tried one to JSN, like 1st down, lost 8 yards.
8 yards.
Nick Bosa is like, oh, this is what you're running. Cool. 8-yard loss. But anywho, Mike, continue. I'm sorry.
And they run another one and Jack's fumbles.
Yeah, that was it worked until he fumbled.
They did get some yards on that. You're right. Yeah, we joke about the screen passes, but that's the type of stuff coaches revert to when you're not running it well. Because now they're like, okay, it's 2nd and 9. I don't want to put us in a pure drop back situation because they have Nick Bosa. But I also don't want to just run it up the gut again, because then that's that run pass stuff that Seahawks fans are very used to complaining about, you know? So now what do? Well, let me try a screen. Well, that's not working either. You know, it's also predictable situations there, you know, where if you're not running it well, they weren't running it all over the Seahawks defense in training camp, to be very clear. What they were doing in the preseason games looked nothing like practice. D-Law was whipping butt in practice on the edge. And you guys saw it today. Like D-Law was all over the place. I don't know how much they talked about him on the broadcast. But yeah, they didn't abandon the run. They just weren't good at it. I'm looking at my notes right now. So how I chart my runs on my little notepad, I usually put a UC or a SG for shotgun under center. And then if it's a ball carrier, I just put their jersey number and then in parentheses how many yards they gained, right? I'm looking, there's a lot in my notes right now. 9, 0, 26, 1, 9, -2. They didn't abandon nothing. And you could tell they didn't abandon nothing because they still came back to it late in the game on that field goal drive. Like, look at this, Chris, on this field goal drive. Ken Walker 8 yards. Ken Walker 5 yards under center. Jack 7 yards under center. Ken 9 yards from under center. Ken, I didn't write down this. This must have been like 3 yards. Like they came back to it. It just was not good enough. It wasn't good enough. And if you run like that every week, you're gonna lose. Almost every week. I can guarantee you that. So they didn't abandon it. They just, as was the case with Grubb and Shane, and even Shoddy and Bevel before him, just weren't good enough at it when it mattered.
Well said, Mike. I don't have anything to add to that. I'm going to go ahead and convert to some of the questions we got via Instagram, Blue Sky, and Twitter. So this first one is from Blue Sky. It's from Shiv Ramdas. Mike, since you saw him up close every day, is Clint Kubiak actually Ryan Grubb in disguise? Have we ever seen them both at the same game?
Oh, I didn't think we'd get this many Grubb mentions, bro. Week 1, this is rough. Seahawks fans are a scarred bunch. No, I do think, though, I keep short on this question. I just think that every OC can be committed to the run when it's working. I just think it's very easy to say that. Like, oh, we're going to run the ball. It's going to be our identity. What do you do on 2nd and 9? What do you do on 2nd and 8? Because they had a lot of those today, too, 2nd and 8. What do you do on 2nd and 7? You know, because the Niners were ready. They were like, oh, you only got 2 yards? I bet you're going to run a quick game throw to AJ Barner here on second and medium. Betcha. Boom, do it. Like they were ready. And then third down, you just unleash the wolves. So I don't think Kubiak is grub in disguise. I just think a lot of OCs they're very similar in that regard. When things aren't working, the way to jumpstart your offense and get first downs is to throw it. And I think it's just easier for that to be the default when the run game is not working. Because when the run game is not working and you stay with it, sometimes it just feels like you're beating your head against the wall. And then last thing on this, Chris and I both got a chuckle out of this. Of all I'm sure that Kubiak watched their offense last year and was like, okay, here's what they did well. Okay, maybe there's some stuff we can keep in the playbook. I don't know how. Maybe he kept some other plays, but I don't know how the tunnel screen to the hook and ladder made the cut of the sticky note of plays that Grubb left in whoever the OC's office is, wherever that's at. I would have balled that up and threw that away. That's the type of thing that maybe works once. It worked in the Lions game, and I would not run it again. That was it. That was just really hilarious. Of all the plays to keep that Grubb ran, it's like, yeah, a little tunnel screen to the hook and ladder where we have JSN throw it backwards. Yeah, let's do that again. Who cares if I put it on tape before? Let's do it again. Yeah, no, that I got a chuckle out of that. That made me think maybe Grubb is here calling the plays.
This next one comes from our Seahawks man-to-man Instagram. It's from Plantum Menace. Mike, you talked about JSN, 124 yards, 23 targets, while everyone else got 22 yards. Not a good day there. He liked the workload that the running backs received that was shared between Zach Charbonnet and Ken Walker. He was impressed by that. But all this together, was this weird in the sense that, maybe the Niners knew this scheme coming in, or is this something that can continue on moving forward?
Yeah, I thought so. Here's some good news. I don't know how long we are into the show, but we're finally given a piece of good news. And I think that let me backtrack a little bit. I think last year, and we've been saying this on the show for a little bit. I think a lot of people, when they hired Clint Kubiak, they were like, "Oh, the Saints had this great offense last year before everyone got hurt." And I've been trying to remind people their offense stalled before all the injuries last year. Like they scored, let me go back and so I have this right. Last year, they scored 47 points on the Panthers. They scored in week 1. Scored 44 points on Dallas. Those are two bad defenses, by the way, but whatever. They scored those points. Their very next game, they lost 15-12. Most of their big injuries came after that. Then I think some guys got hurt against the Falcons in week 4, and I know by the time they played the Chiefs on primetime, they were down some guys. So it was never just they got hurt. That's why no. There is a way to beat the scheme. There are some coordinators that are very familiar with defending the scheme. In week 3 of last year, it was Vic Fangio. He knows how to defend this scheme. He's very good at it. He's been doing it for a while. He's Eagles DC. You know who else knows how to guard this scheme? The guy who runs it, Kyle Shanahan. This is their scheme too. So not to say that you can't run it well on them, but yeah, man, there are going to be some difficulties trying to run the Shanahan scheme on Shanahan. Just how they had difficulties running the McVay scheme on McVay. Like that's just natural. It happens. It's like trying to run Pete Carroll covered 3 on Pete. He knows what your rules are. He's Pete. Right? He gets it, right? So I don't think the challenge is unique to the Seahawks in that way. That's why I used the Pete example. But in that regard, if you want to spin that into a positive, they don't play Kyle Shanahan every week. The Steelers, I forget who their DC is, but whoever it is, I gotta go look it up. Not gonna know the scheme as well as Shanahan, right? Or even Robert Saleh, who is the Niners DC, right? Because he's used to seeing it every day from Kyle. So I think that was part of what happened today. I have to go back and look at the film to give you a real good breakdown, but I just felt it today. There were some runs today where pretty much, honestly, all of Ken's runs, it looked like they knew that it was going to be a run again. Ken had nowhere to go. I felt bad for Ken today. Very bad blocking for Ken. Even on the plays like Robbie Oots, like made good contact at first, somebody just came shooting in. It was bad. So it looked like Robert Saleh won today, and that's not surprising because they're running the scheme that Saleh sees every day. It's real. He is. The good news is you don't play them every day. You play or every week. You're gonna play Steelers next week. You're gonna play the Saints. I think Brandon Staley is their DCs. You know, you're gonna play other DCs who, yes, they've seen the scheme, but they're not the Niners. I do think you're gonna have some issues against the Niners. Maybe some Fangio disciples of the, like Staley is a disciple of Fangio. So, but he sucks. So I think that you're just gonna run into some other issues, but nothing as bad as this in terms of familiar with what you're trying to do on offense.
No, I think you were 1,000% right on that, Mike. And there are a couple of plays that K9 had where, yeah, Salah had one. He had it. He just knew what was coming. They had a toss to K9, and the safety comes flying in, smacks. I want to say it was a tight end, freeing up Fred Warner or Mentor to make the tackle. It was Fred Warner. Fred Warner got in there for a tackle for a loss of 2 yards, but it was because they sent a safety blitz in there. Safety read it perfectly, got in there, created space, and blew it up. And that happened time and time again. They just sent an extra guy to get in there and make it tough for K9 to make anything. As you mentioned earlier, he had 10 carries for 20 yards or something. So it just wasn't effective on the ground Sunday against the 49ers. This next one is from Paul McMillan, and it's simple. Mike, why did Mike McDonald put Abe Lucas one-on-one with Bosa in a critical spot?
Because they just paid Abe $15 million a year. Go block Bosa. No, seriously, it really is that simple. Go block Bosa. Nobody, you don't. Abe and Charles are not at the point where you're trying to say, all right, man, we got to make sure we don't leave you one on one with a Max Crosby or a Micah Parsons or a Bosa. Like it or not, that's you're you have these guys. You pick up Charles's 5th-year option. You pay Abe because you do think these guys can handle that. They only had, I think that was the only sack of the game, right? If I have that correct, I don't think Darnold was sacked any other time. I don't even think he was under that much pressure during the game. They were holding up. That's what you got to do. You
He
know,
did get hit once, and the ball was caught. It bounced off a lineman's head. He got a little quick pressure, not quick pressure, but he
oh
got
yeah,
pressure.
yeah.
But that was it. To your point, he was fine in the pocket. I think he just maybe went to his checkdowns a little too often. I kind of wanted him to settle in the pocket, especially when there was a clean pocket. But I digress.
That's how training camp looked too, by the way. A lot of checkdowns. And now we know it wasn't just because Mike McDonald's defense was keeping a lid on things. So yeah, I think it's not even that complicated. You paid Abe, you keep Abe because you believe he can do that. And I do think that. Like I think Abe, if they had 30 dropbacks or something today, Abe was probably fine on like 28 of them. I think generally he's fine. It just that was the wrong time. Very Reekish. It's like you're only good as your last pass set, unfortunately. This was Abe had this problem towards the end of his rookie year too. I remember his Raiders game was really rough. I think it was against I think Crosby had his way. But then he was a rookie. Now he's in year 4. So credit to Abe though. He talked after the game. Reek declined to talk. But Abe talked after the game. Was like, I got to be better. Had bad technique. I can't let that happen. Boom, simple, done. So credit to Abe for going on the record with that. But yeah, you don't. Abe's not at the point where you hide him. You don't got to chip the running back. Abe, you got Abe for that. It doesn't have to be every snap, but shoot, it was like 2nd and 5. I'm trusting the guy there. So he just got to win. That's it. Sometimes you just got to win against the other team's best player. That's life as an NFL offensive tackle.
And to another thing that I thought of is during that game, how many times did Abe Lucas actually win? Because to your previous point about how many times was Sam Darnold pressured or how many times he get hit, he had time in the pocket. That was just one time where he got beat, and it was the biggest stage and a big moment where obviously the Seahawks score, they win the game. So to your earlier point about how many snaps did he have and how well did he play throughout the game, I thought he was fine. I think Bosa just won on that one. And the opportunity is going to present itself next week against the Steelers because they got Mr. Watt over there, TJ Watt, a guy that can easily have the same impact in an important possession during the game. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Geno lost a game because TJ Watt had a strip sack. Similar moment. It's a big time game.
His first start in 2021 Sunday Night Football.
And a superstar made a superstar play. Mike and I were talking off wax about the Steelers and Jets game. Okay, Jalen Ramsey had a play similar. They throw it. Justin Fields finds Garrett, who is open in the flat. He's running upfield. He throws it to him, and Jalen Ramsey comes down and lays the hammer. Incomplete pass. Game over. Sometimes you need your superstars to be superstars. And in that moment, the Niners superstar was a superstar. And unfortunately, the Seahawks' best defensive back, or as Mike talked about it earlier, 1B, however you want to phrase it, 1A, 1B between Spoon and Reek. Well, he just lost to a tight end that people never heard of. Just misjudged it. So you just need your best guys to step up when it matters most. And unfortunately, Abe, he just didn't step up at that time. He got beat. So this next one is from Mark. If the Seahawks offense can't do anything against this 49ers defense, why should I have any confidence in the rest of the season? And then also, Mike, this is from Rumpelstiltskin. We're going to combine the two. Given all that, where should the fans be setting their panic meter?
Panic meter. Rumpelstiltskin. That's funny. Was it Rumpelstiltskin? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's funny. Panic meter, it's still not high. It depends on where you were at coming in. I'm someone who was like, they're probably gonna go 9-8. So I expected them to lose 8 times. So it's just one, that's just kind of how it goes.
One down,
if you were,
7 to go.
Yeah, if you're just on like the 12-5 bandwagon, then your panic meter should be like at an 8, because I don't think this Niners team is that good. This is a bad loss, to be clear. Maybe we should open the show saying that. This is a bad loss. Brock walked them down without Juwan Jennings, or Juan Jennings, as Chris calls him. Black dude named Juan would be hilarious. No Juwan Jennings, no George Kittle. Purdy walks him down. It's bad. That defense is. It would be unfair to call it Bosa and Fred and some dudes, because I think Lenore is a real deal. It's very safe to call it Lenore, Fred, Bosa, and some guys. That's what it is. And they could not move the ball with any consistency against them. I think they were 3 of 10 on third down. And one of their let's go off the top of my head, see if I got this right. One of their third down conversions is an AJ Barner tush push, which is fine. Good wrinkle.
Yep.
I like that better than the Jalen Milroe one, or whatever Jalen's first touch was. That was a waste of time.
That was not, scrap it.
Why are we doing that? Why are you putting that on film that early in the game too? Just like you're just wasting it. Anyway, so you got an AJ Barner tush push in a 2-minute drive to end the first half. I think Zach picked up 4 yards on 3rd and 1. So that's another one of your third down conversions. And I think the other one was Sam scrambling and finding Jackson over the middle, throwing back across his body. I think Jack's like caught it falling down. I think those are the 3. So if you notice, that's only 1 passing, and that was an off-script play. No bueno. By comparison, Brock and them had 3 third down passing conversions on their first drive. 3 for 3.
All third and long.
Yes. And then like including there was a questionable roughing call on Leo, but either way, they got 3 other conversions on that drive. That's notable, the difference there. So I do think if you're someone like, if you had high hopes, if you were like, oh man, Mike, Chris, we're gonna win 10, 11 games, we're gonna win a division, then you should be panicking. It's not good. You want to see a better showing offensively in particular. If you still feel good about the defense, that's fine. I generally do as well. But if you were trying to be high on the offense coming in, it's worrisome. You would like to think they would execute better, be more explosive, more dynamic, block better in the run game. This was not a game where we all know what those games look like, where Ken doesn't have a good day because he's back there dancing. This was not that. I haven't watched the film, obviously, but this did not feel like what's Ken doing back there? It was like, where's he supposed to go back there? And that feels all too familiar, So, I'm pretty worried about the offense, like we've been talking about. But if I had to say what can give you some faith, again, it's that you're not playing Kyle Shanahan every week. You're not. I think Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh, we don't have the time to make a list currently, but in terms of like offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator combos, that's an easily top 5, I would say. Yeah, okay, I can't think of others off the top of my head, but that's easily a top 5 offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator combo for sure. So they're going to play other teams other weeks where that's a bottom 5 combo. Arizona's could be a bottom 5 combo. Carolina's could be a bottom 5 combo. Jacksonville's could be fun. There could be just other games where they do win the coordinator matchup today, but it's not surprising that they didn't win that on offense today. But I do think that if you want a reason to believe, they should have other games where they run the ball just fine. O'Royal has big days. You would just like to have been that today, First game, 3-6 at home last year. Lose your first. That sucks, man. I feel bad for the fans who sat through that. That was brutal.
This next one is from Get Some Johnny Woo. What's something that they can fix easily, and what's something that's going to be pretty difficult to fix? Actually, you know what, Mike? Scrap that. I'm going to take note. I'm going to hold off on that because we're going to stick with the offense. This next one is from Go Hawks 1. Go Seahawks 1, excuse me. Why didn't the Seahawks run plays for Torrey Horton and the tight ends as well?
I need to know who Go Seahawks 1 on the handle there. How long have you had Twitter? Because that seems like a handle that would have been taken years ago. Go Seahawks 1. That's super simple.
I'll be honest. It's spelled with the letter C, so it's Go Seahawks 1. So they didn't. I just couldn't.
Go.
But yeah.
No. That makes sense of why you wouldn't have spelled it out. But I was like, wait a minute, Go Seahawks 1 was available? That seems like that's the first Twitter account ever, you would think. But I think we've talked about this. I'm gonna talk in the context of just Torrey and a number 3 receiver in general. When I think of a number 3 receiver, I don't think of necessarily a third best receiver. How do I want to describe this? I think of here, put it this way. The Ravens are a good example as currently constructed. Their quote-unquote number 3 receiver is probably DeAndre Hopkins. Is DeAndre Hopkins better than Zay Flowers or Rashad Bateman? I don't know. D-Hop might think so. But the reason he works as a number 3 receiver is because when you put 3 receivers on the field, he is someone you can call a play for. That is kind of how I look at that. All these teams that have kind of been experimenting with OBJ as a receiver 3, same thing. The logic behind it is not that he's this dynamic dude. It's to the point where when you line him up, if it's third and we need a bucket, are we comfortable calling a play for you? I think that the Niners, when Juwan Jennings was their third receiver, that he falls in that bucket as well. When they had Debo and Ayuk, they could line up on 3rd and 8 and be like, you know what? We schemed this right. We can just go to Juwan here and go get this first down. He would do that, I forget wherever Hunter Renfrow played. I think the Raiders for a while. Then call it 3rd and Renfrow. Because he on those downs you could do that. Tyler Lockett, I think actually was perfect for that last year. It's is Tyler going to be your high volume guy? No, you got Jackson DK. But if it's 3rd and 7, like it was to ice I think it was 3rd and 5 to ice the Broncos game last year, the play was for Tyler against Riley Moss, a white cornerback. Tyler makes the catch and the game ends. And so to spin that now to Torrey, I think it's going to take some time for Torrey to be at the point where all right, it's 3rd and 5. We're in 11 personnel. The play is for Torrey. The play being for someone also doesn't mean the ball is going there, to be very clear. The defense gets paid too. But that's where, when I think of number 3 receivers, that's kind of what I look at. Are you good enough so that we can run a play for you? That's kind of why I wasn't on board with the Marquez Valdez-Scantling thing. So I'm well, if you're to take the top off guy, that's tough, man, for us to call the play for you on 3rd and 9 or whatever. I need you to be get open quick guy, which is where Kupp comes in. Kupp would be a perfect number 3 receiver. Perfect. As a number 2, I think your ceiling's not as high. So if your question is, why didn't they call plays for Arroyo or the tight ends or Barner or whatever, Horton, I can't answer why they're going to call plays for who. But I do think when you are watching a game, I don't know, the broadcast angles vary depending on the network, but when it's 3rd and passing situations, just look at it. Just kind of try to view the whole thing, review the whole offense and see, did Torrey get open, right away, or whoever's supposed to be the number 3 on that play, if it's Bobo or whoever. Because that's how you should look at the third receiver on any team for what it's worth. It's like when we put all three of you on the field, are you worthy of us even calling the play for you? Because otherwise, you're just getting cardio, and you're not really worth rostering. So I do think that's going to take some time. Not to say it won't happen. I think it might happen as early as next week, but it's not going to happen right away. And that's why your number 3 receiver also has he needs to be, in my mind, a possession dude. Like get open in short space, not a burner. Remember Chris, they tried to make like the D. Eskridge, Marquise Goodwin type of third receiver thing work. That's why that didn't work, because you can't be your best thing you do can't be run 40 yards downfield as our third guy. We're not calling a play for that. We're just not. That's like a play action shot thing. That's not it's 3rd and 7. Here's the 50-yard bomb to Marquise Goodwin. We're not doing that. So I think that it's going to take time for Torrey to get there. It won't take too long. I think Torrey's really good, but that could be an easy answer for why you didn't see him or the tight ends get much burn today.
This is from Scott. What does Cooper Kupp do better than Bobo on the field? How long of a leash do you think Kupp has?
I think Kupp's got a long leash, man. They spent a lot of money on him. He's a veteran dude. He's very smart. He understands leverage really well. And when I say like understand leverage really well, DBs can line up a certain way that kind of forces your hand. For instance, if you are outside the numbers and they are not lined up directly against, like in front of you, they're kind of slanted a little bit, or like they're taking a step towards the sideline. Now they're funneling you inside. So, but if I have an out route, I now need to figure out how I can manipulate this guy who's out leveraged me to be able to still run my out route. And I got to be able to do it at the right depth, like how many yards, 5 yards, 7 yards, whatever. And I got to be able to do all that on time, because we're in a timing-based offense, so that we don't throw a pick 6 on this out route. Kupp's good at understanding all of that and getting open, and making it happen. So I would say that's something he does better than Bobo, even though I would argue that Bobo is right now a better route runner. Bobo also has a concussion, so he wasn't playing today. But I still respect the question. Kupp didn't do nothing. You guys are mad. I get it. That's why we're here to help y'all out. I completely get it. When the Cougs lose, I'm just as mad as you guys are when the Seahawks lose. So that's fine. We didn't lose though. Go Cougs. So yeah, that's what Kupp's here for, and that is important, because the timing parts that I mentioned of that, those are huge. You can't just be out there freelancing like, oh, okay, well, he's got inside leverage now, so I got some time. I can do this wiggle. No, Sam's taking a 5-step drop, and the ball's going to come out. So whatever you need to do, we need to do that in the time it takes Sam to take a 5-step drop. So I think Kupp is good at that. The problem is you can only scheme so much of that up throughout the course of a game. Kupp's going to have some big games for the Seahawks. Let's not overreact, but that's his like superpower right now, is understanding how to manipulate situations. He catches that 3rd down, he may even have a bigger game than he had today. He just got to catch the ball. But I do think that's his specialty. That's why he's the starter, and that's why he's going to get a lot more snaps. He also blocks better than Jake. So there's that.
This next one is from Aaron Ahmad, BC. How would you evaluate Sam Darnold's strengths and weaknesses in this game against the Niners? And yeah, we'll go with that.
Chris, I think you made a really good point that I bet you the film was going to back up. I think Sam might be a little bit, we're speculating here, projecting a little bit, but I think it's fair, at least for now. I think he is might be playing a little too risk averse in this scheme. Like, I don't want to say too on time, because that's stupid. You have to play on time in this scheme. But I put it this way. One of the reasons I like Geno, I like Dak for this reason as well, Stafford, Burrow. They're all big game hunters. Like they're like, you know what? Yeah, my check down might be open, but boy, if I just put this sail route right over the corner, right up, I can make it happen. Like that's how they think, and that's how they operate. Which is why those dudes also throw a lot of picks, but they're not picks where it's like, what were you thinking? Like a Jameis pick or like a Daniel Jones pick. It's not one of those. It's more so like, oh, I see the idea there. That's a tough throw. Like I think Geno had one today in double coverage to Brock Bowers. Perfect example. That was a ballsy throw. It got picked. It got ricocheted in the air. Gutsy throw. I get it. Sam is not really like that. Sam's more like, can Give me a quarterback who's like what I'm trying to describe. Oh, perfect. Kirk Cousins.
I was about to
Kirk
say
Cousins. Yeah, perfect example. Kirk is like that. Kirk's like, oh, the check down's there. Check down it is. Like Kirk's like, if we need 8 yards, I can get you 5. Like we need 5 yards, I can get you 5. Like that's Kirk. And Sam is kind of operating in that world as well. I think he's kind of maybe overcorrecting though. Now again, I'm projecting him. I'm speculating a little bit. But because I think Sam used to be a big game hunter, which is why he used to take a lot of sacks and turn it over a lot and see ghosts. But now I think he's trying to really maximize like playing on time, like 1, 2, like 1, 2 in terms of his reads. Read 1, read 2, check down. Read 1, check down. Which is it's fine. Playing on schedule and playing on time is like not inherently bad. But when you're not moving the pill, that's when people are like, "What are you doing?" You know what I mean? That is like, okay, now we want you to be a little bit more aggressive. That's personally stylistically why I like guys like Stafford, Dak. Like I'll take maybe 10, 11 interceptions a year because I know you're also going to make like 10 or 11 throws that other guys just are not willing to make, because you're just ballsy, So I think that's kind of how I felt like Sam was operating today. And I think, yeah, Chris kind of mentioned that earlier, which is okay. But eventually, I think to really unlock the offense, you need to be explosive. I think another good example of an offense that's kind of operating like this and has to live off script is the Chiefs. When they don't have a downfield threat, their offense is buns. It is a lot of Mahomes pulling stuff out of his butt because they don't have that explosive threat. You just can't live in that world. You just can't. Eventually, you got to push the ball down the field to more than just one guy. And until the Seahawks do that, I think they're going to have some issues against like competent defenses.
This next one comes from Ryan Turner at Turns 44. We talked a lot about JSN, Mike, and other guys that potentially need to step up. So with that being said, could JSN wear out if it comes down to it? Are we going to see JSN pretty much cooked because he's been getting 15 targets and 10 catches a game?
Let's see. Let's do some math here. I got my calculator out now, so we don't have to guess. JSN had 13 targets today, yeah? All right. What's 13 times 17?
A lot.
221. 221 targets he'd be on pace for. That's great for JSN fantasy owners, but no, I don't think that's like a realistic number. I do think that needs to be spread out a little bit more. I do think it'll be spread out more when they make more red zone trips. I think that the tight ends will be a lot more involved in the red zone. Which is good. That's where really those guys will make their money. No, I don't think he'll wear out. I think the issue they will really run into is finding ways to like teams are going to eventually start dedicating a lot of resources to making sure jacks don't kill him. Like credit to Robert Saleh and the Niners today. They think Renardo Green is Darrelle Revis because they was leaving number 0, Renardo Green on Jackson. Bro, you see these? They were just full on like outside the numbers, go balls. It was like, bro, what? Like, what are you doing here? Although to be fair to Renardo, that was a hell of a pass breakup he had on the one go ball. So maybe that's why
just a little bit, but yeah,
a little bit, yeah. Yeah. Jax had to come back to it. You're correct, but also a great play by.
He didn't give up. He pulled it out last second.
Yeah, that was a great play. But you see on plays like that, they were comfortable leaving their number 2 corner in air quotes because I don't know how they view their corners, but to me that would be their number 2 corner on Jax. That's ballsy. I would not have expected that. Other teams, the more Jax eats, will not do that. They will say, "How you like some bracket coverage, buddy? How would you like some safety help over the top? How would you like some 2-man? That's man-to-man where the safety is following and the corner is playing underneath. So basically taking away all your underneath routes too. DK gets a lot of that coverage. So once they start doing that, then what? Because that's coming. That's coming very soon. Justin Jefferson gets a lot of 2-man coverage as another example. So yeah, I'm not worried about Jax wearing down. I am worried about what they do when teams start throwing real resources at JSN. Because today was not that. They were just like, we can guard these guys. The answer was no, you can't. But like eventually, it can't hit 124 yards. No, you can't. Number 0 almost got cooked for the game. But yeah, so no, you can't. But other teams are not going to be that arrogant. And what is Seattle going to do? That's a question I have for the rest of the year.
Fair. This next one is from Dusty Foulmouth. Foulmouth. Dusty Foul. That's a tough one. Was Bradford bad enough to consider sliding Sundell over and putting Olu in?
No, I don't think so. And that's I'd have to watch the film to be really. It's hard for me to analyze everything and watch all the replays and take all the notes in real time and analyze all of the offensive linemen. I only wrote down number 75 twice, which how many plays did they run? 50? Yeah, 50 even. That's a decent ratio for 50 plays. And they were both run plays. So no, I don't think so. I also just think you guys don't like Anthony Bradford. So if he doesn't do something right, because I know Charles wasn't great on all 50 of them snaps, right? Like he had to do something wrong, right? But everybody likes Charles, which I get. Gray lost some snaps today too. Did write down number 76 a few times. So yeah, everyone's gonna lose some reps though. So no, I don't think so. I really think today was just a collective. The other team knew what you guys were gonna do and were ready for it and adjusted for it, and you guys weren't ready. Weren't ready. I think that was more of the issue without watching the film than AB just was buns. I don't think he was that bad.
Let's spin it to the defense. This next one is from Ryan Land. Are you surprised by how much the Seahawks tied the defense to him and Worry?
No, because that's how it looked in camp. They were certainly. I wouldn't say they didn't have depth. They have depth in the DB room. Poor Ty Okada. That's a tough spot to be in. But that's what it is. That's what it is. Sorry, let's talk about that with Ty for a second. Ty Okada gave up touchdown to George Kittle. Nothing to be ashamed of. Seen a lot of good players give up touchdowns to George Kittle. Jamal Adams, Quandre, Julian Love. Like George is just a good player. No shame in that. However, you are sometimes only as good as your 11th player on defense. And when you have a good play caller, you know what those guys in the booth usually do? They usually are saying like, "Hey, alert." They just put 39 on the field. That's Ty's number. Go at him. That's what teams do. The Seahawks do it all the time too. They just put in such and such corner. Okay, go ball to Tyler right quick. Like they do that. Every team does that. That's a tough spot for him. I don't think they tie everything to the defense, but I don't think they tie everything to Nick. I think what Nick even worries, his body type is so unique that you really can't have a backup for him. Like you don't have another big nickel. Ain't no one that big. They just had to act Spoon to just play big. And he did. I'm not going to read the run numbers again, but I think Spoon played fine in being the big nickel out of their regular nickel. I don't think that was their issue today. In general, the defense was really fine. It really was. Like this reminded me of the Vikings game at the end. It was like the defense, they weren't fine that game, but on the final drive, Sam Darnold gets rigged deep and it's over. Same thing today. So no, I wasn't surprised that they don't have a backup big nickel. I was not surprised they used Ty Okada as their dime, which is their 6 DB package. All that stuff is what they do. Should they do that stuff? I don't know. But when Nick gets hurt, the reason why they were willing to trade up for Nick is because he's so unique. He's 6'3" and like 225. There's no one else really built like that on the roster that ain't rushing the passer. So, or playing tight end. Like Nick's basically built like a linebacker. You know what I mean? So when you lose that, it is tough. So I thought they did a good job actually adjusting. I thought Ty, after the first couple series he was in, played okay. I thought he played good in the second half of the time he was in. I thought the linebacker rotation was generally fine with Drake Thomas and Tyrese Knight. Again, the defense in all played a good game. Like they're gonna watch the film on Monday and be like, "Damn, man, we really should have won that." Like, and they're right. They really are right. They made a lot of good plays today on defense. A lot of TFLs, a lot of pressures on Purdy, even though they didn't get no sacks. Interceptions. They had a good game. They had a good game, and then the reek plays happened. But I don't think they're tying a lot of the defense to Nick as much as the NFL just doesn't have that many 6'3", 220-pound safeties. So when you lose the one you have, you're kind of just screwed.
This next one is from Johnny Woo, what's something the Seahawks can fix easily, and what's something that's going to take some time and it might be pretty difficult to fix?
Which one of these do you want? I can do either one, so whichever one you want.
I can do. I would say what's going to be. I think we just do both, Mike. I think it's fair we both give our opinions on it.
All right, you go first. Go first.
So what I think is going to be a challenge to fix might be something that Mike already hit on, and that's JSN and a bunch of dudes at wide receiver. How long are you willing to wait for Torrey Horton to get it down and be trustworthy of a third down possession catch guy? Kind of what Ty Lockett was to Geno Smith. Third and whatever, you knew who was getting the ball. DK was going to create mismatches. And if I need to correct myself. It was actually Jackson Smith and Jigba last season that was the third down. You got to have it. He is the guy. Now it's all shuffled up, and it's just JSN. Who's going to emerge? So that might be more of a challenge. Like, damn, this is not going to be as easy as it's supposed to be. And it started off with an L at home, and now you got to go on the road to Pittsburgh against a team that now has Jalen Ramsey. Their D line is pretty good. Patrick Queen, he's a solid linebacker. So they got some dudes who is going to be able to win those matches when you need them to on a third down. Is it going to be Arroyo? Is he going to come out and make plays? Is it going to be AJ Barner? Is Sam Darnold going to be confident in that pocket to deliver a pass over the middle when they need a big throw? Or is he going to just do a check down because 1-2, I got to get rid of it? So that's something I think he's going to go back and look at the film and think, damn, I can be a little more aggressive. The offensive line wasn't terrible on Sunday. Yes, they got beat a few times here and there, but for the most part, Sam, I think he got hit, if I had to count, maybe 3, 4, or 5 times throughout the game.
So I had a number on this.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Yes.
Yep.
I'll just give you a number, no analysis. Sam dropped back. Let me see the drop back total. 24 times. He was pressured according to next gen stats. Let me turn this filter on. Pressure, yes. 5 times. So 5 out of 24 dropbacks. Yeah, that's not a bad number.
That's the eye test. Didn't even get a chance to go back to watch the film to confirm it. Just watching the game, it felt Sam had time, and I just wanted him to be more aggressive. But to Mike's point, he's trying to change his ways because that's what had him on the bench. But that, I think, is going to be the challenge for this offense, this team. Who is going to be reliable in those scenarios where you need a big play? I like how Mike talked about it last season with the number one receiver arguably in the league, Justin Jefferson. It was 3rd and 7 against the Seahawks in Seattle, and Justin Jefferson's going up against Reek. And he runs a nice out route. And you know what? Who comes down with it? Number one receiver arguably in the NFL. You need that from more than just a JSN, because the cool thing is they have another dude that can do that with the Vikings. He's been suspended for the first couple games. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank. Help me out, Mike.
Jordan
Addison. So he also beat Reek on a 3rd down on a comeback. Now, he beat Spoon on a comeback. I want to say it was 3rd and maybe 5 or something, and he did a really good job. It was more physical. Spoon was putting hands on him, making it tough, but Addison was able to win that route. So the Seahawks are going to be looking for that number 2 dude that, okay, who else can do this? Because we need big plays. And it can't just be 3rd and 7. Ken, swing pass, make a dude miss. We know he can do that, but I'm sure the Seahawks are going to want him to be more consistent and find guys downfield. So someone's got to come up big in that situation. So I think that will be the challenge. Mike, what do you think would be something that they might struggle with moving forward?
Getting home with 4. I could see that being an issue. I'm high on the edge group when it has Chenna as well, but I do think you got a bunch of like good pass rushers, which has been the case for a few years now. Just like good pass, like you just see the difference. Like go watch around the league, man. If you guys really want to see the difference, man, like I like D Hall. I think D Hall could be like him, really like capital H him, but right now he's not. And go see what the him looks like. I can't wait to watch the film of that Rams Texans game, because that boy Daniil Hunter, that's him. Will Anderson, him. Jared Verse, him. That's what it looks like. Like you need one of those. For the Bengals, it's Trey Hendrickson. I didn't watch the Packers game today, but apparently Micah Parsons looked like Micah Parsons today. Like you need one of those. They don't have one of those. So I don't know. That's the thing I would say is going to be a hard fix, because I think that like what you are talking about, just on the other side of the ball, is a personnel issue, not a scheme issue, and that's just not an easy thing to clean up.
And one thing that I think will be easy to be fixed, man, that's a good one too. I don't know if it's easy, but I have confidence. I'm optimistic that maybe I'm not. Shoot.
What are you talking
Well,
yourself in and out of right now?
I'm thinking of another one that maybe. Do you have one already, Mike?
I do. Yeah.
You go first, and then I'll fight these demons I got.
Yeah, I think they're gonna run the ball better, just in general. I do. I think that, as we talked about a little bit earlier in the show, that they were at a schematic advantage and this disadvantage, excuse me, just with the coordinator. And I was thinking about this. What I was looking at just now was like had the standings on it, and looking around here, actually, that they really the Niners might have my favorite offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator combination in the league. Like it's really good. Denver's is also good. Sean Payton's good. I think, yeah, I mean, there's not that many that are like really solid in that way. I think the only other one that I would put up against that, I don't know Philly's OC very well, so that's probably why he's not in my head right now. But the other two are Andy Reid and Spags. So Kansas City's, that might be number one. But I think the Niners is right there for me, and then number two is Minnesota. Would be Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores. That's nails. That's hard to beat. So I think that they're not gonna be at a schematic or a headset disadvantage like they were. That'd be an easy fix. I hope. I have higher hopes for Clint's ability to adjust than like Grubb. I knew that would be a headset disadvantage all year. I was trying to be optimistic, but it was just hard to really to be optimistic on that one. But I think Clint's better. I think he'll be better as long as he stops running screen passes. I just don't know how these guys can look at the tape and be like, "Oh, let's keep doing that." That's stupid. So that's the one I think they can fix pretty easily.
Based on what the O-line did, and I know the D-line for the Niners isn't full of elite guys, and looking at the schedule, how many teams do they face with the D-line, Mike, is just, let's look at that. It's just, oh my God, they're going to have, that might be scary day for them. Let's see.
They faced some good D lines this year. But I mean, like next week, that's tough. Week 3 could be tough. I'm not worried about week 4. Not as worried about week 5. Not really. The Jags could be tough. Texans will be a disaster. Maybe disaster is strong, but you get the point. Not worried about the Commanders. Cardinals again, not as much. Rams terrified.
Yeah.
Titans,
no.
not
They did
as
have one
worried.
guy, but
Yeah, but
continue.
yeah, not as worried. Vikings worried. Falcons,
No.
no. Colts, no.
Colts,
Rams,
no.
yes. Panthers, no.
Panthers,
Niners,
no.
yes. So it's
All right,
about
so
split. About 50.
so you mentioned yes with the Niners. Maybe they are better now than they are 17 weeks from now. We don't know. We can assume that they would get better with Salah and healthy guys coming back, whatever the case may be. Seeing Sam Darnold on Sunday making quick reads, I think he can get better at letting a play develop, trusting his arm. Now, it doesn't mean be too cocky that got you in a position where you're seeing ghost. I don't need you to go that far, but I think he can get to a level where he can just, okay, I have time. Because as I mentioned earlier in the show, there were a couple of plays where I'm thinking, dude, you did 1,002. Are you serious?
That could be the
You
play
didn't,
for all we know. We gotta watch the tape, but yeah.
but that could be the play. But even then, I'm thinking that couldn't have been it. Really? You got into the huddle on 3, going to K9 on a quick swing pass, and there's guys running downfield. I mean, yes, that could have been the play, but I think there's time and place where you can be more aggressive. And I think that is an easy fix, and it comes down to trust what you got in front of you. The O-line, I thought, was solid today in the pass protection. The run game was iffy. Actually, it wasn't iffy. It just wasn't good enough. But the pass pro, I thought they were pretty solid. I mean, you brought it up. He had 20 plus dropbacks and 5 pressures. It's a good day. So if you can trust it and that continues, I think that'll be something that they can fix. And it's, hey, Sam, take a shot here. Hell, the first possession of the first play of the game, they send Ken out on a motion, keeping the linebackers, keeping their eyes in the backfield. They send K9 in motion. Linebackers are looking at K9, and he rips a ball right behind Warner's head for a first down to JSN for a first down. Who? I know that was drawn up. That's how the play was going to go. But I think there's more of that within the offense where he can just settle in, see things develop, and let it rip. I know that was a 1-2 easy pitch and go, but I think Sam is capable of taking it to the next level and reading things and taking what's there. And not so much 1-2, yeah, I'm going to take the checkdowns. And as you mentioned in training camp, a lot of checkdowns. Not too much testing deep balls. Let's not see that through in games. Let's have you test the defense and show that arm that you have talent, because as you said, Mike, he can throw the ball. Sometimes he just throws the other team. So that's something I think could be an easy fix. We'll see as the season progresses. There. And those are all the questions, Mike. Can you
Oh, that
believe
was
it?
the
We
last
made
one?
it. That was the
Oh,
last
yeah.
one.
Oh, okay. Can I just add something to that? I think that they'll realize is maybe not an easy fix, but something they should fix. And this is something that I wanted to complain about in training camp, but now we have a game that's easier for me to complain about. No, it's I think one of the more overrated things that we have in training camp as it pertains to like scouting a passing offense is the obsession with like where everyone lines up. It's like, oh, this guy's lining up everywhere. This guy's lining up here. Where you line up is largely irrelevant to me. It's more so where you dangerous from. You know, like Jackson. The reason why I'm high on him was a number one receiver. He can line up everywhere and win. You saw it today. Outside the numbers, inside the numbers, out the backfield. He can run choice routes like a running back. Like he's like that from everywhere. You know what they did today? You know what? I think on that first play you're talking about, I have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure like Robbie Oots was split out. Like
Yeah, 5
that's
wide.
that type of stuff don't move me. It don't. And that's what you kind of, because that's how the Niners get down, right? The Niners' whole thing is when they're healthy, they got Juwan Jennings, Pearsall, Juice Check, Kittle,
CMC.
McCaffrey. So their whole thing is that's their 21 personnel. Their whole thing is we can live in that personnel because we can put all those guys anywhere. I can line Christian out. I can put our fullback at tight end and have him run a corner route, which they did today on a great play to the fullback. Like they can do that stuff because all 5 of those guys I just named are dangerous from everywhere. If you put Ken outside the numbers as my outside receiver, I'm not worried about that as a defense. Because if you throw a goal ball to Ken from outside the numbers, that's a win for the defense. Even if he catches it, I'm like, you're not going to keep doing that. You're just not, because that's just not his bag. Not to say Ken can't catch, but you guys get the point. Like a play with Robbie Oots is split out wide. I'm like, I'm not giving you points for versatility, you know, because that's not a threat to me, to the defense. You know, it's the same thing when you sometimes these tight ends get split out wide. It's like you put Farrell Brown outside the numbers, bro. I'm not really worried about that. What are you about to run? A go ball over there? Deep post? No. You know, so I think it sounds good in theory because again, that's what the Niners do. That's what the scheme is. But I don't like that. I think they're gonna realize really, really quickly that you need to find out where guys are most dangerous and who's dangerous from multiple spots and then maximize and press that button more often. Not the we can spread it out of heavy personnel. No, you can't, bro. Like, because you're not dangerous from every position at that. You're just not. You know, if Ken's out wide, there's only so many routes Ken go and run, bro. That's how it works. From anywhere, because Ken's not a slot receiver, right? Same thing with Jackson, like except everyone except Jackson, I should say. So that was something I noticed as well, and that's something we get kind of caught up. I feel like a lot of people got caught up with that with like Arroyo. It's like, oh, they're gonna line him up everywhere. Well, is he dangerous from everywhere? Because otherwise, he's just getting cardio from multiple alignments. That doesn't make you versatile to me. You know, versatility is defined by danger to the defense. Where are you dangerous from everywhere? CD Lamb's dangerous from everywhere when he catches the ball. You know, that's what makes him dangerous. Aaron Hernandez was a bad example. Gronk was dangerous from everywhere when he played for the Patriots, like no matter where he lined up. That's what versatility is to me. And I think the Seahawks right now are kind of coming in with this plan of like, yeah, we can go on 21 personnel and they're going to match us with their base personnel, put their slow guys on the field. We're going to go empty and then run bam, 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 bam. Eventually that's going to not work very quickly. I might add. I would imagine. That's just me though. That's just kind of how I think. That's it.
No,
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
It's a great point. It's a great point because the biggest thing is, a lot of people were excited. Oh, Carlos Arroyo, he's a wide receiver at
Elijah
tight end
Arroyo.
position. Oh my gosh, I say it wrong every time. NBA, I mean, my apologies, but yeah, wasn't really productive on Sunday, was it? Granted, I don't know how many plays were for him, but they need you to go out there and show it. If you are that talented, it should show up. It shouldn't just be one target, one catch. That's your day. But I get it. They were trying to establish the run, and that wasn't happening. So back to the drawing board for week 2. We appreciate all the love and support. We will be coming back to you guys with the preview of the Steelers game, and then we have standout plays. So Mike and I will sift through the film and come up with a couple of plays that stood out, good and bad. And there's a lot of good, as Mike mentioned. My goodness,
There were a lot of good. Mine will probably be good, honestly. I thought I'd probably be on the run defense. Spoiler. I thought it was really good.
And I'll probably just pick out Sam Darnold just holding the ball and throwing it away to a running back.
There we go. That's your assignment. Yeah. Give us some Sam stuff. You're on Sam watch.
So yeah. Other than that, again, we want to thank you guys for all the voicemails. It's been great. You guys have been killing that. So keep doing it. And also, yeah, we haven't said this in a while. Tell a friend about the voicemails. If you have a friend that listens to the show, yeah, tell them to leave a voicemail. We love it. Hearing from people from Virginia, from all over. It's been great.
Germany today, Fresno.
It's been great.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been great. So keep doing that. We appreciate all the love and support. Mike, is there anything you want to add before we shake? Also, get his book. I don't have it in front of me because I've been reading it. It's over there. But anywho, there it is. Mike, what's the title?
The Franchise Seattle Seahawks, A Curated History of the Legion of Boom. Shout out to Amelia and Lane, who I signed some books for. I signed books for a few people today at halftime. I think at least one pregame as well. So much love to you guys. Hit me up if you're on the road. If you're at the Seahawks games at home, I will come sign your book. Just meet me by the Tunnel Club. Shoot me a DM. I'll just come meet you. We can take pictures, whatever. I'll have my Sharpie on me that I don't have it on me now, but I have it at the games. So appreciate that. Thank you. Like Chris said, preview show coming up later this week with the homie Mike DeFabo from the Steelers, and then standout plays. Catch you guys later.